Hello, welcome back to another week. Something a little bit different today, just changing things up a little bit. But for those of you that are coming back, welcome. For those of you that have never been here before, my name is Mike Maspero. I am a almost 44-year-old man living in San Antonio, Texas, and I am using this vlog to just kind of show my journey of growth and self-reflection and kind of the things that I'm going through and where I've been. So last week kind of brought me to this point of trying to understand more about letting things go, being in a position that's a little bit different, a little bit better, and understanding what letting go actually means. And over this last week, one of the things that I can say is that I had a relative of mine, a cousin, that suggested that I start to read this book here called The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself. And I must say, this has been something that is a little bit different for me. I don't, I'm not a big reader, I guess you would say. It is something that I don't do a lot of, but in reading this book, it's kind of opened my eyes to a little bit more of that concept of letting go and understanding what letting go actually means, right? Like, I guess, one of the things that I talked about last week with the idea of letting go was this whole concept of that letting go doesn't mean to completely and totally disconnect from what you're doing. And that's kind of what this book is talking about, but in more so trying to connect with yourself and have a better understanding of how you process those things. So becoming more aware, right? Like the book talks more about like trying to figure out your sense of self, realizing that your sense of self is something that's there and is really the grand conductor of everything, and just kind of, I wouldn't say the conductor, more so of the thing that kind of sits back and watches. And the only way that we can continue to move forward is to understand that we ourselves are the subject of the story that's happening right in front of us, right? Almost like a movie. And as things come and approach us, these are just objects, right? Whether it be a tree or a car or a person, or even to the extent of emotions and thoughts, that these things are just objects that are there, right? And the way that we interact with them is going to have an effect on things that we feel, and ultimately how our energy flows, not only through our body, but through everything, right? Through our lives itself. And one of the things that I can say in reading this book is I'm starting to have a better understanding of the traumas that I've had in the past, and ultimately with relationships, and how these traumas that I've had have created these blockages within me that have made it to where I'm holding on to a lot of different things that don't really define who I am. A lot of things that have happened that trigger certain aspects of what I've done and what I do whenever I get into certain situations, and how I react to those situations that ultimately self-sabotage everything that's going on. It's been good because there's been a lot of clarity that's come through that, a lot of better understanding of myself in how I, not just how I react to things, but why I react to those certain things. The reasoning behind the taking things so personally, about the negative self-talk that I usually have about myself, the putting myself down, the holding myself back, instead of just releasing these things, right? Just letting these things go, being aware that they were there, being aware that they are situations, but ultimately just letting them go. I think the first step that I've seen in coming with reading this book is really going back, right? Really taking myself back, looking at those things that have hurt me in the past, and coming to understand that those things don't define me. In doing so, this has opened up a lot of self-reflection on the way that I handle things in the near past, right? These are things that happened 15, 20 plus years ago that are still having an effect on the way that I do things now, or they hopefully no longer will have that effect. But yeah, no, it's been refreshing, really trying to open myself up to myself, right? Open my spirit up to myself, open who I am up to myself to get a better understanding of who I am. It's been refreshing. At the same time, there are things that come up and realizations that come up as to why I have reacted and acted the way that I have, that they do make me feel sad and they do upset me, because at the end of the day, the reason why things didn't work out with a person, or the reason why I reacted a certain way towards somebody that I loved, or the way that I reacted to myself, all has to do with this past trauma that I've had and not being able to just let it go. It's unfortunate, right? But to be aware of those things now and have a better understanding of those things, and through that awareness, understand that the only way to move forward from them is to be aware, but then to move on, right? To move forward, to let those things go. So the whole idea of what letting go is starting to become a little bit more clear to me. It's starting to become a little bit more understanding of the letting go isn't necessarily, like I said last week, it isn't necessarily a complete disconnect, right, of memories, of feelings, but at the end of the day, realizing that stuff has now moved on, right? That I have now moved forward. That if I want to continue to move forward and better myself, to grow, to become the person ultimately that I am, that's just being blocked and being held back by all of these images and feelings that really aren't who I am, I have to put that in the past and I have to let those things go. I have to relax my heart, I have to relax my mind, and I have to really start to understand that all of these things are going to continue to be there. But as long as I acknowledge them, I am aware of them, and I know that they don't define who I am as a person, that I can continue to move forward. So I know, I mean, this is like half of a video of what it normally is, but that's been my week. That's been the reflection that I've been doing. Those are the areas that I've been working on. And to be honest with you, it's been hard at times, because I am realizing that the root of everything that is there are things that I ultimately held on to for way too long, that I should have let go, that I let define me for so long, that now in retrospect, looking back, I can honestly say that they are the things that ruined relationships, not only with myself, but with other people. And even though those other people saw these things within me and were trying to bring them out, because I was holding myself back, I never really gave myself or the relationship in the end a chance to really blossom the way that it should have been. So part of the reflection this week too has been apologizing to myself, putting it out into the universe, because I mean, obviously, those relationships are done, but throwing apologies into the universe and hoping that because of spiritual connections and because of things that have happened, those apologies that I have will somehow be seen, somehow be heard. Spirituality, I'm coming to figure out, is much, much stronger than I've ever thought it to be. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to realize that this whole idea of spirituality is incredibly strong, right? The connection that we have, not only with ourselves, but with other people, and with, on a spiritual level with other people, can be very, very strong. And my hope is that different people that have dealt with me in the past and dealt with the things that I've brought can hopefully hear the messages that I'm sending out and the things that I'm throwing into the universe, and hopefully will, regardless of whether whatever happens, right? I'm not expecting or asking for anything to happen or for changes to make. I just want people to know that I'm sorry for the way that I acted, because at the end of the day, it was all here, right? It was all in my heart. It was all in my mind, and letting those things overtake me and who I am really, they really killed the potential of the direction of the person that I ultimately can be. So I'm finding it. I'm figuring it out. I laugh at that because I'm a late bloomer, I guess you would say, when it comes to all of these things. And it feels pretty good. This last week has felt pretty good as far as finding more of myself and getting a better understanding of who I am and learning more about the things that I can ultimately change to make myself even better than I am and continue on this path towards growth and becoming an even better person than I could have imagined that I could be. Because at the end of the day, I'm starting to see the type of person that I am, and I'm starting to see how great this love that I have can be shown to a lot of different people. But I'm also starting to understand that I didn't really show that love to myself. And that by showing that love to myself and actually reflecting on that love and giving me that love is really starting to help me to move forward, right? It's helping me to grow. So that's about it for this week. I'm about halfway through this book, right? Like I said, if you need some help understanding spirituality, the untethered soul, right? The Journey Beyond Yourself. It's a great read. It's a hard-hitting read. It's something that as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh yeah, somebody told me that. Or, oh yeah, I do that. Oh yeah, I can change that, right? And just remember, it's changeable, right? We can change. The only time that you can't change, and this is something that I said on social media the other day, change is always something that you can do. The only time that you can't do it is when you're dead. So I hope that all of you that watch these have had a great week. I know that these are helping me by throwing that out there. Obviously, my demeanor from week 5 to week 1 is a little bit different, but I think that's because I'm starting to love myself again. I'm starting to be positive about the person that I am and the person that I am becoming and the direction that I'm going. And whether I do that on my own or with somebody, or people come back or they leave or whatever it is, at the end of the day, there's one person that's always going to be there, and that's going to be me. And so by making myself better and showing myself the love and being positive with myself, I think that I'm starting to feel a lot better about myself and about who I am and about the things that I'm doing for this world. So thank you for watching. I hope you get something out of this. If you're new, go back, check out the ones before it, and you'll probably see that there's a big difference between me now in week 5 and that very first one that I put up. But thank you guys for watching. I love you. I hope you're doing great. And spread love. Spread love to yourself and spread love to the world. It needs it right now. Have a great week. See you again next Wednesday.